Hi, my name is Tom and welcome to On a Student Budget. This is going to be my first impressions video on the Brainwavz R3 earphones. Now, the Brainwavz R3 actually has two iterations of these earphones. The version I have here is the revised version and the one that's currently in production. The original version had a memory wire in this black part, so it had a stiffer material where you adjust to fit your ear, but when you're taking it on and off, it sometimes gets deformed. And a lot of users complain that the fact that when you take it off, it gets deformed, you have to readjust it and basically put it back on for it to fit comfortably again. So what Brainwavz has done was to take that feedback from consumers and incorporate it into the revised version of the R3s. And the revised version of R3 does not come with a memory wire anymore. So the wire here is a lot more flexible and it's a lot easier to take on and off, and it's just less fussy overall. And I think that it makes the user experience a lot more better, I guess you would say. And going into the actual housing itself, you can see that the R3s have a rather large housing, so this is definitely going to stand out, like it or not. And going into the actual earphones actually has two dynamic drivers, so it actually faces parallel with each other. So the first one's on the top right here, and the bottom's on the bottom, and there's a one on the bottom here. And what happens is that the sound funnels from top to bottom and into your ear, and into the nozzle and into your ear. And going into the nozzle right now, the nozzle on the R3s are actually quite long. So if you're someone that's not comfortable sticking things in your ear, it might not be the most comfortable experience. So in terms of fit, the R3s actually took a little time for me to get a good fit because of the fact that the nozzle is quite long. I had to fiddle around with ear tips to actually get a good fit and for it to sit in my ear comfortably. But so far, in terms of comfort, it's not bad. It's pretty good. And going into the actual sound now. Now, I reviewed the Brainwavz S5 in an earlier video, and you can check it up in the annotation above my finger right here. And in that review, I absolutely raved on the S5 just in terms of sound, talking about the sound right now, because it was a very bassy, it's a very rich, very lively sound signature. Now, with the R3s, Brainwavz taken that sound signature and retuned it in such a way that it's more balanced and it's, I would say, better for a wider variety of different genres, where the S5 kind of favored more electronic pop music a little more because of the more bassier emphasis. Now, going into the sound now, the sound of the R3s in terms of the bass, mid, and treble is very balanced. And going into the bass here, it presents the sub bass and the mid bass very well, and it doesn't have too much of an emphasis over one another. I would say that there's a little bit of a mid bass emphasis just for a little bit added punch to your music, but nothing is overblown. And overall, I would say the bass here is rather neutral sounding. And going into the mid-range here presents male and female vocals very well. So, and it's very balanced so far again. So if you're listening to duets, neither the male or female vocals just stand out over one another. They're presented very equally overall, and I would say it becomes more of a realistic experience, because when you're listening on stage, that's what it really is. That when you're listening to duets, they complement each other rather than overpower one another, and I really do appreciate that kind of sound signature on the R3 so far. Now, going into the treble here, the treble on the R3s is a very non-fatiguing, but it's a very well extended treble as well. The treble here, if you're listening to streaming music or like on Spotify or listening to very compressed music, point is the R3s does not butcher that kind of music, and it does not become fatiguing into your ears over time. So this is a very forgiving treble emphasis, while at the same time it doesn't skimp out on the details as well. So that's my first impressions on the R3 so far. Stay tuned for my full review, where I'm going to talk about the build quality and all that good stuff. And definitely like and subscribe to this video if it helped you guys out. And I'll see you guys in the next video.